All right, good morning, guys. Today is Friday, um, August 4th, and as usual, doing analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So we weren't supposed to have a live session today because I was working on some other things, but I just found some time to spare like 15 or 20 minutes. So one major thing, right, and today I can go over the parabolic strategy in depth, but right, this strategy is only like 2 days old. So I only got it like, like 2 days ago. So based off of the way I've been backtesting it, so I prefer using it on the 15-minute time frame, which is why my charts are now on the 15-minute time frame. The this strategy, it's better with scalping. The only thing is that, right, since for the last 2 months or so, I've transitioned to be intraday and swing trading because I really didn't want to be too much in front of the screen. So when I was trying to trade this strategy, it is profitable, but you just have like you spend a lot of time on the screens. And then, right, and for me, if I'm scalping, I'm bound to over leverage. Like the trades I took today, these trades, I definitely over leverage. I mean, I banked a bunch of money, but this was definitely, and even for this US 30 trade, so this is a 15-minute time frame, but I entered on the 5-minute. But the point is, with this, if you're a scalper, right, well and good, but if you're a swing trader, just be careful on applying this because right, you might be bound to either over trade or over leverage. So that's just like a disclaimer. So for the last day or so, the way I've been refining it, I apply it on the 1 hour time frame. So this is the 1 hour time frame right here. So you can see I have US 30, gold, and EU, right? The three main instruments that I trade. And then, so all of our indicators have that um, so it's called a parabolic SAR strategy. So all of our indicators have that parabolic SAR input. So what I did, I just took our GA Trading Club high, low plus trend indicator, and then I turned everything else off. So I turned off the buy and sell signals. I turned off the lower low, higher high. So I turned off everything but the parabolic SAR input at the bottom. And then I extended I extended the lines to 500. So that's the max limit you can extend on TradingView because the default settings are like what, 2. If you apply any indicator, the default parabolic settings are 2 and 5. So for me, I just want like lower width settings, and then I want the lines to extend as far as TradingView can allow. So that's why I have all of them on 500. So here, this is just one of our, right, you can do either or. For me, I just picked this one, and then I turned everything else off. So here, what I'm looking like yesterday, I actually caught like 100 lot here. So these are some of the things you're looking at while trading this strategy. The green lines are buy zones, right? The green lines are buy zones, but keep in mind that the parabolic zones, even a buy zone, same thing as an order block, they can use it as a reversal, as a point of reversal. So always be cautious of that. So green lines are buy zones, red lines are sell zones. So in a buy zone, there's two ways you can trade a buy zone, right? So you're looking, actually, one of the major and popular ways is a test and rejection. So there's test and rejection or break and retest, right? So break and retest can be traded in a buy zone. For example, if we had candles breaking above this buy zone, closing above, retesting, and closing above, right? That's one way to buy. The other way to buy is a retest and rejection. So this right here is what you see right here. This is a retest. Retests and rejection of a buy zone, right? So that's a retest and rejection of a buy zone. Let's see, try this. Yeah. So this is a retest and rejection of a buy zone right there. So that's an exact. So it happened here once, it happened here twice, right? Let me know if you guys have any questions. So that's one way to trade a buy zone using and for me, so you can do this on the 15-minute, on the 5-minute, but since, right, I'm comfortable being a swing trader and intraday trader, so I'm not, I tried scalping the last 2 days. I've made money, but it's, it's I don't really have the peace of mind I normally have while swing trading. So here, I actually bought 100 lot. Actually, it wasn't here. It was in this test and rejection. So I actually bought like 100 lots here, but I only took profit after 20 pips. So the key thing, if you're trading this, is to, so here, if you're trading this long position, you wait for the, so this is a retest or test and rejection, right? So your buy would have been here, and then your stop loss is below that parabolic zone. I recommend you to have at least a 300 pip stop. So some of the entries, even some of the entries here, I send. So keep in mind the trade ideas section, right? These are not official trades. It's just like to show you guys how to interpret this. But you can see some of these trades, like this one on gold, this was a 20 pip stop. On EU, this was a 15 pip stop, ideally like a 15 pip stop, which is like such a tight stop. But after back testing, like you can see in EU here, this gold trade, and this, I'm trying to do like a 1:2 risk to reward. So that's the best thing about this strategy. It allows you to have a tight stop loss and then improves your risk to reward by having a higher TP. So for like this trade on gold, it was 60 pips TP and 30 pips stop. Actually, or maybe 50 pips, let's see, 35 to 39. So about 40 pips TP and 20 pips stop loss. So a 1:2. So for this trade, I actually exited at break even because I normally set break even at 1:1 with this strategy, right? So keep in mind, I used to trade with a 1:1 risk to reward, but I'm trying to improve that and become like have like at least a 1:3, 1:2. So in this instance here, I got stopped out of break even. For this trade here, it actually took me out because it only went to like 50 pip, no, 0.5 pips in we can, and we'll go over this trade, but it stopped me out. But you can see EU right now is pumping. So I'll show you guys the importance of, where's that chart? I'll show you guys the importance of, you can see how EU is pumping. So I'll show you guys the importance of having, instead of a tight stop, give yourself like at least 30 pips 30 pips stop loss. So you can see for this trade right here, if you gave yourself 30 pips, so let's see, or just make sure your stop is below the parabolic zone. So here, I wouldn't have done this. I would, just have made it a bit lower there. So that's 479. I'll call it 450. So maybe 900 here TP in order to have a 1:2. So you can see that trade would have hit TP. So long as you are at 1:1, either secure the whole position or secure some, or set break even. So for this trade, you could have either gone to full TP, whether you decided to set break even or secure some. But have at least like a 30 pip stop. So here again, we see the same thing. This was a retest and rejection, right? Why is it a retest and rejection? Or a test and rejection? And these are nice scalping zones, that, as I'll show you as we go up. So here, we had this red candle, tested that buy zone, rejected up. The next hourly candle, guess what it did? Tested again and went up. You enter into another buy in the same area, right, in the next open of the next candle. So always wait for always wait for two candles. So always wait for the first candle and then wait for the next candle. So for this one as well, stop loss, see, this one would have given you like a what, 45 pip on average stop. So that stop is below the parabolic zone, is below the last low, or the last candle's low. So this one as well, 45 pip stop, 90 pips TP, and then you have that, right? So full TP on that one as well. And again, keep in mind, always have a bias. So the first thing is to have a bias. So for me, when US 30 broke above this trend line right here, so for me, I use trend lines for biases, right? So if I know that US 30 has been forming lower lows, I know we're in a downtrend. If I start seeing possible high lows, I know we're possibly getting into an upper trend. Or if US 30 breaks one of my downtrending trending lines, I'll switch my bias to a buy. So that will help you find a bias in the market. Now, so that's one trade right there, but that's the retest and rejection. Now, the other part is, so let's see, there's this other one I saw here. So when US 30 made this move up here, it came to this trend line. Actually, this trend line wasn't formed already, so ignore that. So not this move right there, this, not that one, but this one. When US 30 formed this lower highs, this was a trend line. This was a downtrending trend line. So when US 30 came back up here, I would have, I mean, I didn't catch this trade, but I would have expected it to reject here. So I would have waited for a nice hourly rejection from that trend line, and around 35 to 82, I would have started to see, do we have any parabolic zones or not? So let's see, 35 to 285, and we can go on the hourly time frame. So at around 35 to 85, we only had buy zones right here. So this is not right. That would have been a nice sell to catch here, but right, you come there since you already got this rejection from this trend line, and this candle closed below this trend line to the upside, right? You would expect US30 to come back down to this bottom trend line if you draw such trend lines. So here at 35 to 85, I would have been looking for an hourly parabolic sell zone, but you can see we don't have any. But if you go on the 15-minute time frame, right here, we had only one at 35 to 66. But anyway, we really didn't have a nice one at 35 to 85. So that's how. And also today during NFP, right, I was observing this line again, because this area has been, so think of these areas as, you know, ideally support and resistance areas. And you can look up what a parabolic support and resistance area is on YouTube for better understanding. So I was actually expecting US30 to retest this, but since I didn't see a nice rejection here, so I'll show you guys the reason I entered that buy. Since I didn't see a nice rejection here, I just said, okay, if US30, I was actually looking to sell US30 because I saw if US30 had closed below 1, 2, 3 parabolic zones. So if this candle right here, the NFP candle, had closed, no, is that the NFP? No, this is the NFP. Give me a second. That's 10. This is 11. Yeah. So actually, no. So this was the 8 a.m. candle. This was the 9. So my bad. So this was the 9 a.m. candle. So right here, this is the candle right here. The 8 a.m. Since we had this break of this parabolic zone on the hourly, and then the next hourly had closed also below. So for this 8 a.m. candle that closed at 9 a.m., I was actually expecting it to close below these 3 red zones, because if it did close below 1, 2, 3 parabolic sell zones, and keep in mind overall my long-term bias for US30 is bearish. So I was actually looking for this candle to close below here, and I would have taken a sell on US30. But you can see the importance of waiting for that either break and retest or retest and rejection. So this candle actually swung all the way back up and closed above these sell zones right here. Now, the reason for me I entered the buy on US30, and this was literally before market open, we had this candle. So this green candle, and I can tell since I have the bar color filter. So keep in mind, I've also incorporated this bar color option to all of our indicators. So what that option does, it colors your candles based off of the position on the 9 EMA. So this is why I've also removed the 9 EMA and 200 DMAs on my chart to just make it a little bit cleaner, because I also have all these trend lines. So for candles that are above the 9 EMA, they're green candles. For candles that are below, they're red candles. So when I saw this green candle, and this was at 9 a.m., so the 9 o'clock candle, I know it was almost before market open, but I saw that it had broken all these trend lines to the upside, and I did see US30 was trending up. So here, US30 had this parabolic buy zone. So this was the NFP candle, right? So this NFP, yes, this was the NFP candle. So this NFP candle is the one that actually created, let me do the replay. This NFP candle is the one that created the parabolic buy zone on the 15 minutes. So keep in mind, I like the trading this strategy on the 15-minute, or looking for an entry on the 15-minute. So here, if we play this, you'll see that that NFP candle is the one that created that green zone. So what you'd be looking for here, and keep in mind, you also want to make sure if you're trading a buy, you want to your candles to be green. Ideally, you want price to be above the 9 EMA. So when I saw this here, I saw this as a possible buy zone. So you see how I've marked this up, right? This is how I interpret these zones. So when I see red, I'm telling myself it's a possible buy zone. When I see green, possible buy zone. When I see red, possible sell zone. So for me here, I interpreted this as a possible buy zone. So what am I looking for here? Here, I'm looking for a break. So this is, I'll do this. So this is a buy zone. Right, since this is to the top, right, this is the break and retest. If it was to the bottom, like the way we saw this one, this is a retest and rejection. So break and retest is when the buy zone appears to the top. So what am I waiting for here? Wait for a break and retest. So if I'm waiting for the break and retest here and we keep playing the candles, we see the first break and closure above, right? So we want this next candle to retest and close above. Now I knew it was market open, so I actually went to a lower time frame. So keep in mind, if you're sure or if you have like a high probability that the move is going in a certain direction, you really do not have to wait for the 15-minute time frame. The 15-minute time frame is best when there's no volatility, but especially during market open, if you wait for the 15-minute candle, sometimes it might be so far up. So this is where I came to the 5-minute time frame and I looked for entry. So on the 5-minute time frame, we had already got a break and retest, because keep in mind there's this green zone, a buy zone right here. So it had already broken and closed above. So at this point, since I was pretty sure that US30 was going to keep pumping up here during market open, I had like a 80% probability. I really did not want to wait for this 15-minute candle to close, because the probability for US30 dropping back down here after this heavy move from NFP was, less likely in my opinion. So that's when I actually entered at this area on the 15. I went down on the 5-minute and entered there. Now, if you wanted to wait for the 15-minute time frame, that's fine as well, right? Because ideally this strategy should be used on the 15-minute time frame. So the 15-minute time frame, you could have entered, you see that spike right there. So you enter on the closure of that candle. So once you enter there, so keep in mind, have at least a 30 pip stop. So in this instance, you could have done a stop below. So for me, I always recommend have your stop at the very least below the parabolic zone, right? You can do below the previous low, the previous candle's low, but keep in mind, this is the best area because this is where price is highly likely to come back and retest. So this would have been the entry if I was trading it on the 15-minute time frame, which I did not enter on the 15-minute. That would have been the entry. So you could see that wick down. So this is why, right? For me here, I chose the 5-minute because I know the volatility that comes in with US30. But anyways, so let's put this as at 500 just to give a nice working number. So this at 1,000. Now, the key here is that once you achieve a 1:1, so once you're already up 50 pips in profit, in this case, 35,666, right? Here you come in, you set your stop at break even, right? So here you're running the trade risk-free. So you can either decide to secure some here, or you can decide to set break even and write the whole position. So for this particular trade, if you're doing the 15-minute, you can see you could have hit full TP right there before the trade came back down. So that's how you trade, just the basic of the parabolic strategy. And I did mention to you guys for the parabolic strategy, make sure that you learn it, forget about all the other strategies we have. So keep in mind, I haven't talked about the reversal strategy. I haven't tied it to the reversal strategy. I haven't tied it to the breakout scanner. I haven't tied it to the order blocks, right? Even though here I did see we have a 4-hour bullish high and low, which did also give me additional confluence. But keep in mind, if you try to tie the parabolic strategy with another strategy, to be honest, you might get analysis paralysis where you're just frozen, right? So what I would recommend, forget about the other strategies for now, backtest this strategy by itself, right? What are the charts telling you? What is price action telling you? And then once you've understood it and you subconsciously can see the buy zones, subconsciously you can see the sell zones, subconsciously you can see the green candles, the red candles automatically, right, without even trying, then try to tie it with the maybe order blocks, maybe with the crosses indicator, maybe with the breakout scanner, because we have so many strategies that if you try to tie, even for me personally, when I was trying to tie this to other strategies, I just felt so overwhelmed. So right now, that's why you can see that's all I'm trading just for now, until I really understand that. So that would have been the entry on US30, and unfortunately I hadn't started the live session by then. So what is the market telling us right now on US 30? So on US 30, right here, based off of the bias, you can see US. So if US 30 closes above these two trend lines, this signifies a buy, right? Oh, that signifies we are changing to a buy environment. Also, you can see the candles are green, telling us that price is above the 9 EMA on the 200, I'm sorry, on the hourly time frame. So if we close above these two trend lines, it's possible that US 30 will keep pumping up. And so there's two ways you can look to enter US 30. Either wait for the break, closure, and retest above this hourly parabolic buy zone, or look for an entry on the 15-minute time frame. So on the 15-minute time frame, maybe this, and you can see price is still retesting this. So technically, this can also be another, this can be a break. No, my bad. This can be a retest. And again, it's Friday, so I don't like trading on Friday. But if this candle closes, what what analysis will it be giving us, or what entry will it be giving us? It will be giving us a retest and rejection. So keep in mind, I'm not tying this to anything. I haven't looked at the reversal. I haven't looked at anything. I'm considering in 38 minutes, if what's the probability that in 38 minutes, this hourly candle closes above here. So to be honest, I think it's best to wait because 38 minutes is a long time. So US 30 can easily flash here. So around like maybe 5 minutes before closure of the hourly candle, I would like to come to the 15-minute time frame and look at what parabolic zones do we have on the 15-minute time frame. So I can see we have this one right here at 270. We have this other one here at 316. So the question is, in 38 minutes time, if US 30 is up, look for an entry on the break and retest. But again, Friday, so I don't like trading Fridays. But that's how I analyze the parabolic zones looking for entry. And also looking at the hourly time frame, look at this, right? We have one green zone right here. So buy zone, and buy zone. So when if US 30 closes above here, we are likely, right? This would be also a nice buy. And the hourly time frame can actually give you a tighter stop, right? So let's assume the hourly candle closes above here. So either have your stop. So keep in mind at least a 30 pip stop if you're using the so whether it's an FX pair, whether it's a gold, whether it's US 30, at least at 30 pip stop. You can definitely have a tighter stop than that, but as I'll show you guys with EU yesterday, and you can, I was in a buy in EU and I got stopped out because I had a 15 pip stop loss. But you can see, right, this might be a potential entry. So it's if it's a 30 pip stop and you want like a 1:2, right, there you go, right there. But you need this hourly candle to close. The other part that I wanted to mention to you guys, you see how it's rejecting, right? Rejecting from the greens, rejecting from the reds. So if you see like a double green and double red area, again, right, I really don't like scalping anymore because it's just a lot of tension and I end up over leveraging. But this could have been a tight scalp right here. You could have sold on market execution here if you see those areas with double buys or double sells. And that's, you need a lot of volatility in the market possibly so that your trade can go down to tip your stop loss. But you can see here, if you sold on impulse here, US 30, as much as it was in a bullish high and low, if you're just doing the parabolic by itself, you can see here you could have had a 10 pip or 15 pip stop and possibly like a larger TP, right? So look out for those zones. Look out for those zones right there. Technically also, right, this can also be an argument of, and this is why it's important to have a bias. This rejection right here, and if this current candle closes below here or closes anywhere below this zone, it can be an argument for a sell. So that's why you need to have a bias in the market, right? Always find a bias. So use trend lines, use hourly, use daily timeframes, look for that bias and then find an entry. So does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions regarding anything I've gone over? Interpret, and right, it's the same thing with gold or EU. Right, same thing about gold here, but this is on the hourly time frame. Gold here, if you're trading gold, and using the break and retest of this, and this is a double zone again, right? Double zone, this could have been an impulse buy. Again, I don't recommend those impulse trades, but you can see how that liquidity pushes over. But anyway, if you're trading the break and retest here, you could have done this hourly candle break, this next hourly candle retest. So technically, if you're doing a break and retest, and this would have given you a 50 pip stop. So for you to have a 1:2, so let's just call this 50 pips, because remember, we need stop loss to be below the previous parabolic zone, or the parabolic zone you're using, right? So that would be the trade you'd be going in for gold. However, you don't want to trade this overextended candles per se, right? You don't want to be catching this long move like this. So in any case, for gold, what you could have done, come to the 15-minute time frame, like this is the 15-minute, and look for an entry. But I can tell we didn't have really any parabolic retest on gold, because gold literally spiked all the way up. So unless you used anything, any other confluence, maybe you could have entered early here after gold closed above this upper trend line. So that's the only entry, but you can see it really wasn't tied to any parabolic entry. So gold, as much as actually, wait, it was right here. This hourly, do you guys see this? These two buy zones, are they there on gold? Let me go back to that chart. Yeah, actually, the trade here for gold would have been this trade right here, but this wouldn't have been a break and retest. This would have been an impulse entry. So I don't want to teach you guys or to encourage you guys to do impulse entries. But here, what I'm looking at, when I came back to the gold chart, I looked at this hourly trend line. Gold closed above the hourly trend line. So here, whether it's the hourly trend line, whether it's the parabolic, again, I recommend a break and retest. So even for me, I wouldn't have taken that. If I was going to take anything on gold, this would be the trade that I would be in on gold, because I want to stick to my analysis, or to stick to my rules for a break and retest. But that's the trade that I'm not going to enter it, but that's the trade that would be there on gold. The reason I'm not going to enter it is this, right? This volatility, this push up. So let me show you like the perfect entry, like for me, even for the hourly time frame. So I just showed you guys this retest and rejection of a buy zone, right? US 30 didn't push too far up yesterday, right after this rejection. So it gives you an opportunity to have like a 30 pip stop. Here for gold, for you to have like that at least 30 pip stop, you can see this one, you can easily get faked out. So that's what I want to avoid. I don't want to be catching moves that are so overextended. So for example, here on EU, what I'd done yesterday, I saw this zone right here. So I come in here, this was on the hourly time frame. Again, it was even before the time I normally trade, which is also why for me, I need to stick to my rules, because I traded before 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I ended up getting stopped out. So here, you can see we had this buy zone right here. So this parabolic buy zone, and this is on the hourly. So for me going forward, right, I'll be looking for these zones on the hourly time frame, and then I can come to the lower time frames to start executing them, because that will help me still be an intraday trader and a swing trader, and not really scalping the 5-minute. Let me take this off, because I am not taking that. So here, this buy zone that was formed on EU. So yesterday, analyzing EU, I started seeing this move up. So we had this lower low, we had this lower low, and then we formed this green candle, meaning price closed above the 9 EMA. So if you come back here and turn on the 9 EMA, you'll see we had this nice closure above the 9 EMA. So I knew, and keep in mind, if you're taking sells, make sure the candle is red. If you're taking buys, make sure the candle is green, and not like a regular colored candle. You need to go to the indicators and turn on bar color. And that will color your bars based off of position of the 9 EMA. So here, we started having that green hourly candle. So here I anticipated creation of higher lows. I'm sorry, higher lows, yes, higher lows, and possibly an uptrend. But what ideally I was also looking for majorly here was closure above this trend line here, closure and retest. So we had this two candles, and you can see them here. They barely have volume because it's the Asian session, so they barely have volume. So this was around 1.09527. So I came to my chart right here, you can see 1.05927. We had this break, right? Because the previous candle had broken above, but the next one came back and closed below that buy zone. So this is why I really don't want to encourage entering on impulse, because if you enter on impulse, you can always have that rejection back to the downside. So you want that break and retest. So I kept watching it. I saw this candle right here. It broke and closed above my buy zone, right? Because this is, let me label this. So buy zone, wait for break and retest. Right, so this is all I'm observing on EU, or what I was observing yesterday. So we had a break and then we had a retest and closure above. So this is the point I entered EU. And if you go to the trade ideas part, you'll see that I had that. So where's my stop? I want my stop to be below, and this is how I had, like, actually not there. I had below this previous one right here. So I had like a 15. So if you look in here, this is like a 15 pips. So I had a 15 pip stop, and that is very tight on EU. And then I wanted like a 1:2. So here, like 300 TP, but for me, I was aiming for like 50 pips TP. So you can see here, well, I guess due to slippage, I got stopped out, but I definitely got stopped out of this trade, or unless I entered late. But that was the entry. Let me see what I sent in the Discord, because seems like, oh, so actually, yeah, I missed. So my entry was here. So I missed this entry down here. So my entry was so I was late to the trade. But you can see the importance of just having a wider TP. So for me, I actually entered here, which is why, and you can see I literally just got faked out, but the entry was down there, because you can see this is where we had this break and then retest. And you can see both candles were green. So I'm trading in the direction of momentum, in the direction of the EMA. So this would have given me a 1:3 risk to reward. So again, right, I would recommend having at least like a 30 pip stop. So you can see here, if I'm having a 30 pip stop and maybe I want the same risk to reward, the trade would have still hit full TP. So, right, so have 30 pips. If you guys want to do 20 pips or 15 pips, right, just be cautious of how you can get faked out. But this is the importance of or the good thing about the parabolic strategy, gives you a nice risk to reward. So you let me see, I'm trying to see for US 30. Does anybody have any questions? So hopefully it makes sense. Same thing, so whether it's the green, I know I've just showed buys, but same thing with sells is ideally the opposite of what I've talked about. So for me, I'm doing it on the hourly time frame, and then I look for an entry on the 15-minute time frame. That's it. So same thing for US 30 here, right? What I told you guys, buy zone, wait for a break and retest here. So for you to trade this, yes, you could have entered on impulse here, but the issue with entering on impulse, here's another example of why you shouldn't enter on impulse. For anybody who was trying to catch these gold buys early yesterday, you can see gold was ranging between this high to this low right here. So between 38 to 31. So if you try to catch the breakout right here on impulse, you can see how you could have gotten faked out and faked out and faked out and faked out, right? Because gold was ranging yesterday. But today is when gold is giving you that buy, or give you that buy entry right here, which would be running. So I don't really recommend entering on impulse unless you have other confluences. Just wait for that proper break and retest. If it happens during New York session, more than likely price, especially New York open, more than likely price will shoot up and not give you that tight stop loss you want. But you know, maybe after the markets have calmed down, maybe during London session, you'll be able to have that nice entries that you can have a nice like 1:3 risk to reward. So let me know if you guys have any questions right here. So for sells on US 30, if you're biased for a sell on US 30 right here, and I know, so here's one thing. on the hourly time frame, so keep in mind, I know I said if you're buying, make sure you're buying a red candle. I'm sorry, you're buying a green candle. If you're selling, make sure you're selling a red candle. Now, on the hourly time frame, that will be near impossible. The reason that will be near impossible is that before, like right here, yes, it was a break and retest, which is why you need to possibly go to lower timeframes for entries, because right here, so let's try and see where price was right here, 35,136. So let's go back to US 30. So here, if I said I'm buying here, somebody can ask me, why were you buying a red candle, right? So here, right, they're buying a green candle and selling a red candle. Idea might not work on the hourly time frame, because before you get the candle you want on the hourly time frame, you price might have left you like 1,000 or 500 pips or whatnot. So here, what I did not enter here on the hourly time frame. I was just observing what's going on the hourly time frame, and then I went. I think this was on the 5 minutes. So if we go back to 35,136 area on US 30, and this was yesterday. So this was a double bottom, right? So this was right here. 35,136. Let me turn off the markups indicator so that we can see these zones. So I saw that rejection right there. So if I was trading on the 15-minute time frame, this would have been the entry, right? Break and retest or break and closure above. That would have been my entry right here. So this was what? If my stop loss is below there, so maybe 450 and maybe to 900. So this would have been my entry because I was getting the break. I'm sorry, the retest and rejection off of the 1 hour. So since here you'll see this entry, if I was trading the hourly candle, this is not a green candle, right? I wouldn't have been trading a green candle based off of, I mean, in reality, if I turn off the EMA bar color, in reality, that is an actual green candle based off of how it is. But based off of where it is on the 9 EMA, it was still a bearish candle because price was below the 9 EMA. So this is why I came to the 15, or I actually entered on the 5-minute. On the 15-minute, trade would have still gone to TP, but on the 5-minute, you could have had that quick entry. So if we go to the same entry and look at the 5-minute, here we go. So same thing, same logic. Wait for a buy zone, and you can see US 30 was creating high lows. So here, same thing, wait for the break and closure above or break and retest of the parabolic buy zone on the 5-minute, because already on the 1 hour, it has told you that it has retested and rejected above a buy zone. Yeah, you go to the 5-minute or the 15-minute. I highly recommend the 15-minute. Do your stop below the parabolic zone at least, or below the previous low. So, you know, in order to measure your risk to reward. So here, if you did below the parabolic zone and you want at least a 1:2, so 35 pips stop loss, 70 pips TP. So that's how, and you can see here, I'm entering on the 5-minute. What color are the candles? They are green. So this means that price is above the 9 EMA. If I turn on the 9 EMA, there you go. You'll see that price is above the 9 EMA. So always make sure whatever entry you're making, just know you can identify an entry on the 1 hour, and the candle is not going to be in the the candle color is not going to be in the direction you're trading. But if the rejection, if the break and retest makes sense, if the retest and rejection makes sense, go to the 15-minute and go to the 5-minute. If none of those have your trading direction or color, do not take that trade. So let me know if you guys have anything else. Also, I think with this strategy, I prefer trading US 30 with it. Yesterday, we did take a small loss on gold of 0.5%, but if we had traded, because we got an entry on US 30 and we got an entry on gold, but I unfortunately picked gold, which hit stop loss, but US 30 would have hit full TP. So I think I'll just stick to gold, and stick to US 30, ideally because it's my favorite instrument, unless I see like a nice entry on gold or EU. EU is also nice as well. Like I think this is a nice strategy for FX pairs as well. So if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, just a quick question. So as you were explaining your entry on 15 minutes based on 1 hour analyze,
Mhm.
So you used the 1 hour parabolic buy as like as a support.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
or as a rejection.
Yes.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
as I was tasting also, I saw that these parabolic zones can be also zones where price reject and goes the other side. So that's what you did
Yes.
on that side.
Yeah, correct. Which is why I've been mentioning they are definitely right. They can be used as reversal points, which is why if you go in here in the indicator, it says parabolic SAR or reversal question mark, right?
Okay.
So they can, it's a double-edged sword. So which is why I highly insist that right, show PSAR as or reversal. And if you see, if I open the we have a buy. Let me see. Did this take?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at right now, and I
Oh,
missed that
oh
buy.
no, no, it's about, no, it's not yet. It's on this candle. So it's on this candle. So it's in 4 minutes. It's not right now. I didn't go. So it's on this candle that's about to close. We'll have a golden cross on US 30 on 15-minute. So it wasn't this, which I looked at the account that I'm taking this automated strategies at. It's actually right. Last week US 30 was terrible. I'm the balance is like 92K, which actually it shouldn't be because my trade Telegram copier was acting up. But anyway, no. So this will be a buy on US 30. But I'm not gonna take it, but my automated account is gonna take it. I'm taking every one of these trades. And for me, for this trade, it's so keep in mind, I'm not entering it, manually, but I know my automated account is taking all of these trades. But anyway, let me go over this. So you see this parabolic strategy. So this is the parabolic strategy strategy right here. So you see like the first, so actually this is more of a note. So strategy is suitable for scalping and early entries at lower timeframes, best if used on the 15-minute time frame and above. But right, make sure to have a bias from higher timeframes. So this is the reason. So you see how even for you observe that even green zones can be used as sell zones or rejection zones. So for me, like we all know that for US 30 on the higher time frame, I'm biased for a sell, right? Because I'm expecting US 30 to drop for 1,000 to 1,500 pips sometime this week or next week, right? Because historical data has shown that US 30 normally has a drop somewhere between June to August. So we didn't have a drop anywhere to June to August. So we are overdue for a nice drop in June to August. And also September and August and September are like one of the worst trading months or worst months in the stock market every year. So right, so overall, my bias was a sell. So if my bias was a sell on US 30, guess what? If I'm trading here on the parabolic, right, I would have just been observing. I would have made sure the candles are red. So like yesterday, this was a perfect sell. So you see this, remember, so keep an eye out on the double parabolics. So you see this double parabolics right here, double parabolics. You can use them as, so those are the only areas that honestly I would be looking to enter on impulse, double parabolics, right? So of course it's stronger, and you can see right here, right? You can literally, this is the area I'm talking about, you can sell on impulse. So here, this was a perfect sell area. So you could have either, uh, here you could have either entered on impulse. Again, I don't like, I'm not going to recommend that, but here you could have entered on impulse. But right, as of yesterday, keep in mind this daily candle closed the day before yesterday. So at this point, I was heavily bearish on US 30. And by then, right, this is when I just deployed the parabolic strategy. So I didn't have this strategy with us, but this was a nice sell zone. But if you wanted to wait for the break and retest or the retest and rejection, this would have been your entry. Break and retest right here. Break and retest on the hourly time frame. You could have put your stop. If you put it literally above the parabolic zone, you could see you could have gotten faked out and price closed above, no, faked out and price dropped. So, and that would have been like a 600 or 550 pip stop. So it's always good to think of where. So in this instance, if the parabolic zone is next to the previous high, in this instance, just put your stop loss above the previous high, because if you look at the requirements, number 6, it says set stop loss below or above the parabolic line depending on the direction. A better stop loss may be below or above the previous high low. Recommended stop loss is at least 30 pips. So here, if in this trade, where is that trade? If in this trade you just put it above the parabolic zone, right? Depending on where you put it above, you could have gotten stopped out. Actually, wait, that candle did not break above. Yeah, it didn't break above. So unless you put it literally on the parabolic zone, that's when you could have gotten stopped out. So for this trade, but you see, this would have given you a 500. So call it a 540. No, actually, wait, give me a second. 366. What's, wait, 3. Oh, I'm looking at the, wait, am I looking at the wrong thing? 66. Oh, this is actually a 50. It's actually not 500 pip. So it's a 54 pip. So call it 55 pip stop loss. And then you could have had like, for you to have a 1:2. So you have 110 TP. And you could see this trade would have gone straight into TP. So that's how I would have traded this entry right here, because it broke, this candle broke this double parabolic zone. This next candle retested and rejected down. So this is a break and retest, and that's your entry. Stop loss above the parabolic zone, and then you do your 1:2. So right now I've just started doing a 1:2. I haven't tested a 1:3 or anything. But this was the perfect sell. So here, right here, my bias was a sell for US30. But yesterday, when we had this double rejection from this single parabolic, and based off of how US30 was moving here, it had already retested a bottom trend line. So that's another thing. We had already retested this double trend. So for me, I use the hourly candle, the hourly trend lines to tell me the bias. Unless I have like a daily bias, I'll use the hourly candle. So if, for example, US30 were to come back down and reject this trend line to the bottom right here, and then we had a nice closure above, guess what I would be looking for? I would be looking for buys. If US30 comes up here, which that's the next stop for US30, and I know we're about to get a buy entry here. I don't know if my account took it. Yep, it actually took this trade. So keep in mind, this is not a manual trade. This is just a trade that has been taken automatically by my account that's taking the golden crosses and death crosses. So right now, US30 is definitely going to pump up. Well, not definitely, but let me put it this way. The probability of US30 going up from here and getting to this trend line is higher than the probability of US30 immediately coming back down to this other trend line. So the other entry that's gonna show up here right now is this. Actually, it's not a break and retest, because we need another hourly candle. For us to use this buy zone as an entry, we need the next hourly candle to also either retest and close above or just close above this buy zone.
Are
Yeah.
you taking when you are taking entries based on the 1 hour time frame?
Mhm.
Like for example, on this entry, like is it like good like to put a limit on the parabolic and
So
wait for the retest, or why are you saying that it needs to retest and close above? If it close below, it means it's the sell the buy is not valid.
so the reason that, okay, so you can definitely set a pending limit, right? But so the key thing with this parabolic thing, right? Ask yourself, what is your bias on US30, on gold, on EU? That is the key thing. That's what's going to tell you whether to set a pending order. The reason I don't want to propagate the idea of setting pending orders is, you see what happened on gold yesterday? Because if you set a pending order here on gold, guess what? You'd have gotten tapped in a pending buy, you'd have gotten tapped in, and then gold would have literally rejected all the way back down. So that is the reason why I prefer a break and retest, because a break and
But
retest will always give you the best entry.
yeah, but on this example that you are showing,
Like right
the
now.
price, the no, on God,
Mhm, mhm.
on God, the price didn't close above that parabolic. It just tested the parabolic.
But if you had a break, okay, so there's two things, right? Break and retest, you'd have to enter manually, right? But pending buys or pending sells, you don't enter them manually because they're automated entries, right? Because that's what you asked about. You asked about pending buys or
No, yeah, I was asking like, yeah, put the US 30.
Mhm.
For example, if we wait for this hourly candle to close, if it
Mhm.
close above,
Mhm.
so it means that we only need to wait for the retest
Mhm.
and for the retest. Is that correct?
Yes, and closure above, yes.
And closer above.
Yeah,
Ah, ah. So
yeah.
like if for example this hourly candle closed above,
Mhm.
and after I take a buy as soon as the price reach the retest of the parabolic.
So for you to take a buy here, you'd need the next hourly candle to close above. Right. So
Mm,
so you see, this is a good example right here. So you see what happened here? There was a buy zone right here, this parabolic buy zone on the hourly. So you see this one right here, right? So
yeah.
here, if you'd have taken a buy on US 30 here and not waited for a retest or just hoped that US 30 will, and also, right, this is also what I'm talking about, the bias. If you're taking a buy here, first of all, you should have been cautious that US 30, I know this lower high had not been formed. So anyway, so let's ignore that part. But anyway, so if you took a buy here, look what would have happened, and put your stop even below the parabolic. So depending on, so let's see what stop this is. And I don't know if for this candle, and we can replay it and see where it started from. So let's see how tight of a stop you'd have. So let's assume you had a 30 pip stop, and let's assume you have a 60 pip TP. So let's see if you could have, so you couldn't have hit TP on this. I think you could have just gotten taken out at break even because the trade. Anyway, let's see how the candle started. I don't know if the candle started bearish or bullish, right? So let's assume you entered this hourly on impulse. Um, so it goes up. So this hourly candle closes. It started off actually bullish, so that's fine. So with this hourly candle, you could have gotten taken out at break even, because this one, it would have been like 30. So your stop loss is 30 pips, so 53. Yeah, so this trade you could have gotten taken out at break even, because at a 1:1 at the very least set break even if you're not going to secure. But you see, for anybody who did not set break even, or for anybody who would not have set break even and they didn't wait for the retest candle, look at what the next candle did. The next candle closed below the buy zone, right? The next candle closed below the buy zone. The next candle after that retested and closed below. And at that point, US 30 dropped. So they use this
Okay.
as a sell, right? So that's the importance of waiting for the, right? And this is why I don't like scalping with this strategy, because I'll find I don't wait for that retest, because if I'm trading the hourly, I'll find myself, and I've done that like yesterday when I was testing this strategy. So this is why it's just, I'll just stick to swing trading this strategy, because I'm not gonna wait for the break and retest, especially on the hourly. Like, I will FOMO and enter early, and then I'll just end up getting burnt for no reason. Yeah, but the best, yeah.
So it means that for the when the price closed, for example, for a buy closed above
Mhm,
the parabolic,
mhm.
we must wait like
Yes,
for an hour so that the
yes.
price retest and close above, and after we enter on the next candle, it means like we must wait like for almost like 1 hour.
Yes. But look at the
Ah,
and that's the same with all the strategies I have. Like, even for the trend line, when we are trading trend lines, right? It's ideally similar. But look at the best thing about waiting for the hourly. Look at this. This was a nice buy. A nice buy here, a nice buy here. These trades had little to no drawdown, right? If that's what you're looking for. Look again here. Another example of the pain of not waiting for a break and retest. See this? So same thing right here. This candle looked like it was selling, right? Anybody who entered the sell here without waiting for the retest, that's a long position. So anybody who entered the sell here, guess what? Stopped out. So, right, see, because it's fake out, it's faking out. So this buy zone is telling you, I'm giving you an entry, it's a buy zone, but keep in mind, you want to wait for me to get broken and retested. If you enter on impulse, just know that whatever happened to the people who sold here, whatever happened to the people who bought here without waiting for a retest can also happen to you. Look at this, right? Another nice thing about waiting for a break and retest right here. This was a sell, and this was on US 30 as well. But this could have gone a little bit in drawdown, but right. So this was a valid trade. Again, this is a break and retest because break or break and closure below. This is a valid entry, but this one, right, it just was not your day, right? It's a valid trade, but the thing is, got stopped out and then came back down. Wouldn't even have hit TP or break even. But right, you also need to be cautious of the size of these candles. So this I can tell was during London Open because this is 3 a.m. So right, be careful about those things. Be careful about market open. Be careful about news candles. Be careful about everything else. But the
So this,
most important thing, have a bias.
yeah. Okay. Because I was doing that. I took entries today because I mostly trade DAX,
Mm-hmm,
German 40.
mm-hmm,
It moves like US 30 and moves fast with a lot of volume.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, so the mistake I was doing is that I was waiting for the break
mm-hmm.
and I was entering on the retest.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I've tried that too, and I got burnt. Even yesterday, while testing this, right, like once you just get that retest, no, you want to wait for the closure. So so maybe I should start rewording this to retest closure, right? So wait for the break and retest closure above.
Yeah. I took like 3 trades since yesterday and I lost two, I won one. I'm at break even.
Mm-hmm.
But the two that I lost is because I wasn't my bias wasn't good on that German 40.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the bias is definitely right, like a critical thing. So yeah, right. And for me, I don't know how many charts or screens you have. So for me, I just prefer having that parabolic SAR on like a clean chart by itself with no other indicators or anything, so that it's also telling me the zones that we are in. Um,
Yeah. That's also I have the same,
yeah.
uh, and I also have the only the buy and sells on cross that appears,
Yep.
so that I know it's like another confluence.
Yeah, another conflict, because yeah, even yesterday when we were back testing that, you could see here, you see like this breakout buy. This was right, like if you were doing the breakout buy, this was a nice buy right here, because you can see it came off of a break and retest. But this is the actual long would have been here, because this is the one I took when market opened. But you can see this one, we had a breakout buy right here. It would have come back down into drawdown, but it's going back up. Yeah, but sometimes you'll find like nice, I think I showed this with the cells the other day. This cells right here. This cell, there was a sell zone right here, and this is on the 15-minute. And then you had the closure below, retest and closure below, and also you got a breakout sell. But right, I recommend just learning the parabolic strategy by itself first and not trying to tie it with anything else. And then,
Yeah.
right, once you understand the dynamics for it, so that you can subconsciously be able to see, okay, this makes sense, this does not make sense. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
even for me, it's probably going to take me like a couple of more, maybe one more week to refine it. And you can see, right, look at the power of this double parabolics, right? These are quick scalp areas, but knowing myself, I'd be entering 100 lots here. And then I either make 5,000 or blow my account or something. But you can see the power of this. It's like strong. So think of it as strong resistance. And even gold is approaching two double parabolics right here. And this is like, okay, so let's see on gold right here. Let's see what happens here. So you see this gold, this is the hourly, right? So the hourly had a break and retest, but gold is approaching this double area right here. I'm gonna I'm gonna test. I mean, I'm just gonna do like a small test. Or I'll just observe this because I don't want to look at this trade. But this is here. This would be a nice, that's 38, 36. Yeah.
So it means that even when the parabolic that came before the
Yes.
actual price, it
Yes.
means that they are still valid.
Yes, they're still valid. And on TradingView, so if you have the settings here, for me, the max you can extend them is 500. So you can go over 500. And that's like a TradingView limitation. So by default, this is 5. So if you do 5, you'll have a view like this one right here. They won't extend a lot further. But yeah, so even right. So for me, I use the ones that are shown on the screen. So that will be like the most recent ones.
Okay, the most recent. Okay.
So
But
this,
how with a chart like this, how are you having a differentiation between those that already came and the new one?
it's just what you're seeing on the chart. So the ones that already came, they won't get to where price is at, like this one,
Okay, okay, okay,
right?
okay.
So the ones that are on the chart are the most recent ones. So the ones from the past won't really. Yeah, no, I won't take this trade because it's Friday, man, and I can see the structure on gold. Gold can, unless I do like a 0.01, I'll just do like a 0.01 to test this double parabolic. But anyway, yeah, I don't. This is why I don't like doing the scalping with this one. Yeah, but for this one, I'll just do like a 0.01 to test this double parabolic.
Yeah, but I think it's a good it's a good strategy regarding to the risk reward.
Yeah.
And if you use it with other confluences like price action or other things that people use, it can be very, very nice. But something that I noticed is that with this, you can't trade a lot of instruments at the same time
Oh yeah, you'll
because
get confused.
yeah, it's going too fast sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, for me, I said for this strategy, I'm sticking with US30. Like US30 is what and you can see this double parabolic area. For those of you who joined us for this trade, this is a 0.01 lot. We are testing a double parabolic buy because we know at these areas you have a quick rejection. So similar, so you see what's happened. So for this trade, do not enter with I would recommend not to enter at all. If you are going to enter, just use a 0.01. Do not enter with here we are testing this double parabolic, similar to this, what's happening on US30 right now, because US30 is rejecting from double cell parabolics. Because what we noticed here is that in this zones, in this zones, you have a sharp rejection. So if it's a red zone, a double. So keep in mind, double, I mean like 2 lines, 2 or more lines, I guess. You normally have a quick rejection, and these areas, they can give you like quick. Again, this is better for scalpers and not like swing traders like me. So this one, it's not like a full position. This is 0.01. This is just to try it. Again, it's also a Friday. So I do not want to be risking all the money that I've made this week just to try and prove a strategy or something. And also keep in mind, you also need to have a bias. So for me, gold here, gold closed above and rejected on this hourly trend line and on this point of structure right here. So the bias for gold for me, if you ask me, would be a buy. But keep in mind, this is a 0.01 entry. I'm not gonna lose anything by riding it, probably just 30 cents or $3. Yeah, so just because I know there are people who just joined right now. Yeah, any last questions?
Yeah, bro. Can I just ask one thing?
Mhm.
Yeah. So yesterday we lost the loss on gold.
Yeah.
When it was I think when news happened, but that gold reversal that happened, I think there was a stop hunt the day before because of
Wait, you say loss yesterday, the loss on gold wasn't when we took the loss wasn't during news, or are you talking about this morning?
was it yesterday? I think it was
No, yeah, yesterday is when we
Yeah.
took the loss on gold, the 0.5
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah, but I think the day before was the ADP. I think ADP can what's it called? I think that could be considered heavy news. Isn't it?
For me, in an NFP week, ADP doesn't, I don't care about ADP. What I care about is ADP was, I think it was dead if I'm not wrong. I mean, we can backtest, but ADP, I don't, unless it
Yeah,
was this one. Yeah, so
yeah,
ADP was this one. So
yeah.
if you're
I think
trading ADP,
yeah, but basically, I think from 1944, the reversal for 100 pips that you usually go for, uh, that one that was valid. It went exactly to the pip, and then the news came and then just took it down for like 200 pips.
there wasn't a reversal at 1944. So, because if you're doing
Really?
the trend
Yeah,
was area of interest 1952, you had a 150 pip threshold. So for you to even consider buying gold, gold would have had to come
yeah.
down to 1937. So there wasn't any reversal at 1944
Uh,
because this
um,
was Wednesday 8:15 at ADP. ADP was right here 8:30. So there wasn't any
yeah,
reversal at 1940. This buy is invalid. It does not meet the threshold.
1940. What happened the day before again? Where did
Well,
it
the
come
day
from?
before it was just day before was nothing, right? I mean, there was a major downtrend on gold, but there was no, I don't see any trend on the 5-minute here. Maybe on the 15-minute. Maybe there was a trend. Yeah, there was a downtrend here on the, so even so keep in mind also
Mm.
on the new indicators, they have the bar color option. So this bar color will also be helpful on the reversal strategy because it will literally color the bars to show you a reversal. So you can clearly see here, this is a nice downtrend, even without looking at it. So
Mm.
this buy right here was a perfect buy for gold,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. These parabolic zones, yeah.
Mhm.
You use it mostly for scalping, is it? Because like reversals. How would you use it in that sense? I know you said break, retest, and closure on this spot. Like
Yeah,
how would
so for
yeah.
break and retest here,
Mm.
or for news, I would have sold gold right here because this was a news candle. It actually before news, the news candle retested the parabolic sell zone and closed
Yeah.
below. So for me, if I was trading gold here, I would have sold gold here, with stop above the parabolic zone and did my, so I'm guessing this is like a 50 pip stop loss, and then I do for my 1:2.
Yeah.
Right there, 100 pips TP. So that's how so the same thing, it doesn't change. I just went over how to trade parabolic break and retest or rejection and retest, right? I went over
Yeah.
the break and
Mm.
so this is rejection and retest and rejection, right? Depending
Mm.
if the parabolic buy is at the bottom, you'll have a retest and rejection. If the parabolic buy is at the top, you'll have a break and retest. So for example, here on the hourly candle, this hourly candle just closed above this parabolic buy zone. So you would need, so that's the break. So for you to buy US30 here on the hourly time frame based off of the parabolic buy zone, you would want to wait for the retest and closure above. So you'd want to see in the next 52 minutes, will this current candle close above, and then you go ahead and buy US30, stop below the parabolic or below the low of this candle, but at least have like a 30 pip stop. So this is like 30, so call that 35, hoping that maybe that's the low of that hourly
Yeah.
candle. Have your 1:2 right there, and that's how you would trade. So it doesn't, right? It's literally everything I've gone over today. It's
Mm.
a break and retest or rejection and retest.
Okay, there's two things. These parabolic lines, the red lines that you said the wick is rejecting of. These red and green lines, are they basically order blocks?
No, parabolic,
Yeah.
and that's why you don't hear me. So parabolic is by itself. Forget about all the other strategies we have. When I talk about
Yeah.
parabolic, it's a new strategy by itself. So it's not order block, it's not reversal, it's not breakout. It's by itself. So, and you can look up
Mm.
like on YouTube what parabolic. So it's ideally support
Yeah.
and resistance, but it has its own connotations, which maybe right. I'm probably not the best person to explain it,
Yeah.
but it has its own connotation. So I recommend just learning about it by itself. Don't try to tie it with anything else because you'll just be overwhelmed. Yeah. So don't try to
Yeah.
tie it with anything else out there.
Yeah. Okay. And one last thing is, when like how can I say? Yeah, when you said yeah, long-term and short-term projections of where the instrument will go. Like I'm still a bit confused. Like how would you like do that?
So for example, US 30 here, why am I short on US 30 is because after backtesting the last 7 years worth of data since up to 2016, and actually plan to do it up to the last 10 years or so, between June to August, you have a what is it called? You have a sell, a major sell on US 30 for 1,000 to 1,500 pips. So for me, I was waiting for the sell to happen, and you guys know that we've been trying to catch sells in, and I've been burnt last week by
Yeah.
US 30. But after backtesting, and I didn't have this data, after backtesting, I saw this sell. So this is one major way you can find a bias. Try, use the reversal, and this is the reversal indicator. Use the reversal indicator on the daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, and then see if you're getting buys and sells, see where you're getting them. So I can easily use this on the 4-hour as well. So if I was using this on the 4-hour as well, at this point, right, this sell, but you can see how for US 30, if you're using this on the 4-hour, this sells, ideally you're just getting burnt trying to sell here.
Yeah.
But on the daily, it gives you better confluence, because here you had a sell and at least US 30 sold for a day or two. Here you had a buy, US 30 bought for, right? So you want to find, so this is number one. So it's either this, but for my major thing for confluences is trend lines on the hourly. That's it. So if we're having, like here yesterday, when we had this double retest right here, I know we were rejecting off of a trend line on the hourly time frame. Tying that to the parabolic, we're rejecting off of a buy zone parabolic. So it's a no-brainer for me to buy, because what is my bias on US 30? So yesterday when US 30 was here, I saw it retested a bottom trend line. So if it's retesting a bottom trend line, I expect some sort of rejection, which is why I did not hold. I entered with 100 lots here, which is why I did not hold 100 lots, because looking at, I was still biased for a sell on US 30, but I was expecting it to at least get to this trend line and possibly keep going down, because my daily bias for US 30 was a sell. But even though my daily bias for US 30 is a sell, it doesn't mean that US 30 is just going to keep dropping the whole day. We are definitely going to have pullbacks. And for me, with a parabolic, you can see I can easily get like a 20 pip stop. So I don't really care about just as much as the daily bias is a sell. It doesn't mean that all I'm going to be looking for is sells. If the hourly time frame is telling me we are rejecting off of a bottom trend line, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to enter buys. So my primary confluence for bias is trend lines. That's it. My secondary confluence is using the reversal indicator on the daily time frame. That will tell you. So for example, here, if we did this on gold, same thing. So here you could have had a bias for a sell on gold. Here you could have had a bias for a buy on gold. So, just find what works for you. For me, what works for me is literally the hourly trend lines. This one, the daily time frame on US 30, this is something new because I just did this data like last week, and also this sell took forever, right? So and by this whole time right here, we did not have the parabolic entry. Guess what? Even here on the daily, I see entries. Look at this break and retest right here. This is if we had this one, and if I had understood it well, maybe this is a buy I could have taken on the daily time frame. Same thing with the sell right here. Same thing. So this sell, yes, it's a valid sell. Right here, let me show you. This is a valid sell that would have hit stop loss again. So keep in mind, no strategy is like 100%. So this is a sell that could have even hit stop loss just by itself, and even on the daily time frame. So you just need to find a bias that works. Do a lot of back testing, because for me, I trust my trend lines like a lot, because you can see. And I don't adjust these trend lines after the fact. All these trend lines, I just draw them. So like this bottom trend line, I drew it when it was only this high low and this lower low. I didn't attach it to this lower low or anything. Like it just came and tested in future. So for me, my primary confluences to find my bias is trend lines on the hourly time frame, which is why you'll see me draw trend lines and for all instruments that I trade. So for me here, I'm expecting this to be a high low. So for example, here, if I were to draw a trend line, this here is what I normally call a hanging trend line, because this is not established, but I do expect a high low to be created here. If a high low is created here, guess what I'll do? I'll just do this to that. And in future, if gold comes down this way, if gold comes down this way and we have a parabolic here, guess what I'll do? I'll buy gold down there. So it's as simple as that.
Okay, so the thing is, just one last thing is, okay, so if gold, the highest so far was 2066, or is it? Yeah, 2066, 67, like back like in May. And now it's gone, like last month, it went down to 1893. So just looking at that, right, like, how would you, like, I don't have to say, but how would you, I don't have to say it, but like, what would you look at there to say that, oh, which way it will eventually
So
go?
for you to know that, do the same thing I did, backtest gold for the last 10 years. So I don't know about gold, I haven't backtested it, but if you
Yeah.
ask me about US 30, I'll answer that question for you. I'll tell you that US 30 in every given year has a yearly low, yearly high. The possible yearly low for this year is the last week of March 2023. Okay, given that,
Yeah.
every time for US 30, it starts the year off either with a yearly low or the first half of whatever, the first quarter of the year, it creates a yearly low or yearly high. Then
Oh, yeah.
during June and August, US 30 makes a reversal, whether it's to the upside, whether it's to the downside. And then at the end of September, US 30 completes that reversal. If it created a yearly high, it will go for
Yeah.
the yearly low. So for example, here, 2022, so for me, you have to backtest that.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
answer that for you. January
Yeah.
2022, US 30 created a yearly high. Mid-range, May and June. So May to June, right here, we had so I don't know, maybe the reversal was a buy in this case. Looks like it might have been a buy in June, created a buy, went all the way up, finished the buy, created the sell, created the low of the year, first 2 weeks of October. So how I come up with the mid-range, I get the possible high or low of the year, and then how many months are remaining. So in this instance, if the possible low of the year for 2023 was in March, I'll calculate how many months are left till the end of the year. So from March to December is like 9 months. What is in between March to December? It's July and August. So same thing. So that's the same logic. So if you ask me about gold, I don't know. So I would say go ahead on the daily time frame, apply the reversal indicator, dedicate 2 hours of your time in a day, and that will give you the data you need for gold. And you almost always know when to buy gold, when to sell gold.
Yeah. And just yeah. But then when you say eventually go with that direction of have that bias, the only thing that could eventually take it there is the news, isn't it?
No. So forget about news. Literally forget about news. How many strategies are there about trading? You have fundamental, you have technical
Oh,
strategies, you have sentiment. Fundamentals is news. So news is just one thing that can drive price where it's gonna go. Technicals are the next thing, because if you say the news, then that means the market is only gonna move whenever there's news, which is not the case. So literally, if you thought that news is something that drives price one way or another, why is the market moving when there's no news?
I know, but like those big moves where it does 500-600 pips or more. Like remember like retail sales, FOMC, all this stuff. Like when it just does a crazy move. Like usually you can't just, I don't know how to say it. I mean, depends.
No, I mean, sure, but in the bigger picture, right? In the bigger picture, if we look at this move on US 30 from 34,100 to 28,895. So let's go back on this day when we had this sell. This was Friday, August 2022. So let's just go to Forex Factory, Friday, August 20, because you're looking at news in a small scale, right? Sure, it can move 600 pips in 1 hour, in one day. But what if you go to the daily time frame, what caused this move right here? So if you say yes, news, it moves price by 600 pips. So let's go to this day right here when we had even this drop, this reversal. So Wednesday, 17th August 2022, right? Maybe it was FOMC, maybe it was something, but let's see what was there.
What I'm trying to say is, sometimes when there's heavy news, after like 2 days, like the next 2 days, the day of the news and the next 2 days, you might complete structure. When you always talk about structure, I think that's what can happen sometimes. So there'll be heavy news, and then the next maybe 1 or 2 days or something like that, it could just drop or go up, something like that. That's what I've seen, but I don't know.
Yeah,
From what
but
you,
so and I've told you that, right? So you need to backtest that, because the way
yeah,
you're looking at it is not the way I look at it. It doesn't, and it
right,
doesn't mean that your way of looking at it is wrong. Yeah, right. So think of new, right? Yes, news can push price ups or down 600 pips, but
yeah,
look at the overall time frame, right? What is pushing? So if you think news is a major factor, go ahead and backtest all of this. Take
yeah,
this highs and lows. Look at on Thursday, June 22, US 30 had a push, or even gold. Let's say it was, let's assume this is gold. Let's say gold pushed up for like 1,000, 2,000 pips. Look on Friday, June 2022, was there any news event? Maybe. So if there was a news event, then you start developing those statistics for you and say, okay, in June, I need to watch out for FOMC, because in the last 7 years, after FOMC in June, gold has made a 5,000 pip move. Then if that's your edge, that's your edge, right? But for me, if you ask me that question, because I'm not a news trader, I do not trade news. I don't care how much news moves, whether it's 6,000. Well, not that I don't
yeah,
care. I don't know if it moves 6,000. I don't know if it moves 8,000. So for me, I can only answer your questions based off of the research that I've done and based off of the other things, right? My experience. So what I would say, literally, like put in the time, use the daily time frame, put gold here, use the reversal indicator, and the best thing, right? The reversal settings for gold and US 30 here are the same. Buy and sell,
yeah,
0, 59, close. Do the statistics. Which month had the high of the year? So like right now, if you are telling me, I've done the back testing for gold for the last 10 years, and I found that gold creates the high of the year in this month. Gold normally reverses June to August. That's a different, or May, or I don't know when. That's a different conversation we would be having, because right now, if you ask me, it's just speculation, and I do not speculate in the markets. For me, I deal with data that I'm seeing in the markets. So if that makes sense. So
um,
just
yeah,
put in the time and back test, and then find those results, and then come back and tell me, I looked at the last 5 years and I found that gold moves this and this way, and I'll say, okay, let's see how that goes, and let's see the strategies we can apply using that.
um, so,
Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? All right. So looking at, so there goes gold, right? So that's the power of this, and US 30 is still doing, it's also rejecting from those double zones. But there goes the power of those double parabolic zones. So I know this was a filler trade like 0.01, but you can see, right? And all of this is literally backtesting, right? So this is why I stress the importance of backtesting. And I've only had this strategy for 2 days, and I've dedicated like 20 hours or 30 hours just finding these nice areas to enter and seeing, okay, what is price. So you guys saw real time. As much as we're not making maybe as much money in this trade, we can see the importance of just, and this, if you're entering this one, you would have already been at a, because we have a 30 pip stop, 60 pip TP, this would have been already a 1:1. And right now your stop should be a break even. That's if you chose to enter with a larger lot size. But that's the importance of back testing. Like if you invest your time in back testing, you will always make money, right? You might lose at the first few times when you're trying to understand the strategy, but if you back test and then forward test, you always see ways that you can always make money in the future. So for me, like even before today, I never knew about these double parabolic zones, but you can see the importance of knowing them and trading in the same direction as your bias. Last questions. All right. I will talk to you guys
Yeah,
next.
right before. Yeah,
Yeah.
on your parabolic. What are your stop and TP on that 1-3 ratio?
So I'm just starting at 1-1-2.
1-2. Okay.
Yeah, but make sure your stop loss. So for here, like if you're trading this, so I know, I mentioned having like your stop below the parabolics, but you can see this would have been like a 0.5 pip stop. So have at least like a 30 pip stop. So whether it's US
Okay.
30, whether it's gold, whether it's FX pairs, have at least a 30 pip stop, and also avoid. So let's assume here this rejection happened and went all the way back up, and the candle closed all the way here. So sometimes you'll have such a heavy rejection that your stop loss, as much as it might be 30 pips, it might be literally at the parabolic or even before the parabolic. And then in that instance, you might just have to have like a higher stop loss or something, but just make sure to have at least a 30 pip stop, and then have like a 1:2. And then when you're at 1:1, go ahead and set break even, or
Got it. Okay.
secure your trades. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, last thing I'll say, right, I can't insist this enough. Make sure, and that's why you guys see I haven't talked about the crosses strategy today, but this trade is being taken automatically. So I did not enter this trade manually. It's being taken automatically by that account, that one account I told you guys about. But learn this strategy by itself, and until you understand the parabolic, even without thinking too much into it, then bring the other strategies back in. Like, we know the crosses strategy is profitable again on the 15-minute time frame, right? Start looking for entries that tie to that, and if you use that, you'll have an edge in the market. So even for me, like in the next week or so, I'm not trading any other strategy. I'm going to focus on this and see how can I best refine this strategy, because again, it's 2 days old. So even the knowledge that I'm giving you guys, it's like literally 2 days old. So it's up also to you guys to find edges in the market with this. All right, last thoughts or anything? Okay,
Do you
perfect.
take any trades, bro? Did you
Today,
take any trade? Yeah.
yes, I took US 30 trades. I went over the US 30 buy I took buys on US 30 this morning, and I sent them in the group. These are the trades I took on US 30, but which is why right, as much as I made all this money, to be honest with you guys, I over leveraged. So this is why I don't want to use this strategy for, every time I scalp, I find myself over leveraging. So this is the reason I'm using this this strategy to swing trade or to improve my swing trades. But if you guys want to scalp, right, it's a perfect, you can see, but you can see I had 100 lot, 80 lot, 33.33 lot on US 30 because I scaled in, but I definitely over leveraged on this trade. It wasn't a swing trade, it was scalping. Yeah, but I took trades today, and I was, this was part of what I had when the trades were running. The 33.33 had already closed, I think. But this one is a 0.01. So this is just a testing. So we are just testing the double. But other than that, I don't trade on Fridays. I don't like trading on Fridays, but if I'm testing a new strategy, I will trade every day. So I'm willing to lose money so as to know how to make money in future. So every time I have a new strategy, I will literally trade every day. But until when I have refined the strategies and I've understood the strategies, I don't trade on Fridays. I do not take any trades on Fridays.
Apart from the reversals, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
Like on Fridays, if there's I think, remember you say on Thursday, catch the trend for Friday.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
You finish it by the morning, isn't it? And
Yeah,
you don't.
most likely. Yeah, most
Oh,
likely before New York.
apologies.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Fridays are normally either reversals or continuations.
Yeah.
So you want to
My bad.
catch the direction early. All right. Last thoughts? All right, perfect. So I would recommend you guys use the weekend, just backtest this, forget about everything else, forget about all other strategies. Go ahead in the hourly time frame. How are the parabolics working on the 4-hour? I don't know, right? You come here, look at the 4-hour, literally backtest everything right here. We have a double parabolic buy zone right here. We have a double parabolic sell zone right here. And you can see how US 30 is sold from this double area. So, I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know about the 4-hour, but right now, I can only talk about the 1-hour because that's what I've invested my time backtesting. So I recommend you guys do the same. The more time frames you can, the better. If you find this strategy works for you, well and good. Forget about other strategies. Do not use the breakout. Do not use anything. The best thing about this club is that I give you guys access to all indicators, right? I don't increase price or anything. In any case, for this month, everybody who had my indicator, I've given you guys an extra month so that you can invest time in just learning this by itself. If you find that this is confusing to you or you don't understand it, and even my explanations or YouTube explanations are not working for you, then maybe go back to the crosses, maybe go back to the breakout scanner, right? Life is about learning. So just focus on that. If it works for you, well and good. If it doesn't, but know that the key to it working or not working for you is you, right? Right, sometimes I'm not the best at explaining things, so if you just rely on my analysis, right, I've been wrong a lot of times, and like last week we took a lot of L's on US 30. So if you only rely on me, right, my view might be skewed. So just find ways to make things align, and if they do, just stick to that and forget about whatever anybody else says, even me. So all right, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye guys.